Good morning, class. We are starting with the first chapter of a syllabus, that is one when wishes come true. This chapter was written by Rabindranath Tagore. So about Rabindranath Tagore, we know that he was a famous poet and writer from India, and he was the first non-European to win the Nobel Prize for Literature. Even his personal life includes composing music, singing, painting, staging dramas, etc. So according to him, Rabindranath Tagore, this chapter, when wishes come true, what he shows that what are the different desires and wishes we are having at different ages, right? So like when we are young, like of your age, we feel like, hey, when we will be start going to the college, we will be wearing our clothes, we don't have any uniform to wear, and we can do whatever we want to do, right? And once we are there in the college life, we miss our school life, and then we want, hey, हम पैसे कब कमाएंगे, when we will start earning, ये सब पढ़ाई कब खत्म होगी, right? So at every stages of our life, we are having different wishes, and we want those wishes to come true. So in this chapter, Subal and Sushil, two characters are there. Subal is the father and Sushil is the son. So let's see that what they were having the desire and what they were wishing for, and whether their wishes come true or not. Subal Chandra's son was called Sushil Chandra, but the people always aren't true to their names. So Subal's son's name was Sushil, but the people, they were not always agreeing to what their name states. Like we are having names and we are having the meanings of our names, right? So the people, they were not agreeing to what names they were having, which is why perhaps is maybe, Subal, whose name means the strong one, was actually quite weak. So Subal, the father, which actually means the strong one, he was very weak. And Sushil, which means the gentle and quiet, was just the opposite. Whereas the son's name was Sushil, and Sushil means shant, gentle, calm, quiet. But he was just opposite of what his name suggests. The son Sushil drove the entire neighborhood mad with his antics. So drove is force. He just make everyone, entire neighborhood mad with his antics. Antics, the naughty behavior. So Sushil was a naughty child. This made his father to itch to punish him. It is irritate. He gets irritated and then he started punishing his own son Sushil. Unfortunately, the father suffered from rheumatism. Rheumatism is the disease where we are having pain in joints and muscles, right? So the father, he was suffering from rheumatism, while the son could run like a deer, and the son, Sushil, he was very fast. So most of the intended planned, जो आप plan करते कि अभी थप्पड़ मारूंगा, slaps missed their targets. As the father, Subal, he was quite old and he was having the rheumatism disease, so he was unable to slap his own son. But on the rare occasion when his father managed to catch him, Sushil really had a bad time. And on rare occasion, kabhi kabar kya hota tha ki Subal, he was able to catch hold of his own son, and then that was a very bad day for Sushil. The day on which the story begins was a Saturday, and school would be over by 2 in the afternoon. Just like your school also gets over by 2. So this was Saturday and the school would be over by 2 in the afternoon. But Sushil was in no mood to go to school for a number of reasons. Just like sometimes being a student and we feel like कि आज मन नहीं है, आज test है, आज नहीं जाना. You are having number of reasons not to go to school, but your parents, they forcefully, like some of the parents and some of the students scenario is this, that they are forced to go to school, right? So To start with, what were the reasons why he was not having mood to go to school? It was the day of the dreaded geography test. Dreaded is fear, like the Ravna. Geography test, just like the one reason I stated, that because of the test he was not willing to go to school. Secondly, there was to be a display of fireworks at the Bose that evening, which everyone was looking forward to. So Bose, he was just the neighbor, and he was about to display some fireworks, crackers. Like, so everyone, they were very interested in seeing that, and even Sushil, he wanted to see that. So he just thought that I should not go to school today. Sushil too longed to spend the day watching every bit of the preparation. So he just wanted to stay at home and he just wanted to see what kind of preparation the boys they are doing. After thinking long and hard about it, Sushil jumped into bed just when it was time to go to school. So he was just thinking about it, that whether he should go to school or not. And then suddenly he just went back to his bed and he thought that no, today I will not go to school. Subal looked at him in surprise and asked him, Subal, the father, he was surprised to see that why he is lying on bed. Why are you still in bed? Aren't you going to school? So he asked him that why you are still lying on the bed. It's time to go to school. Aren't you going to school? I have a terrible stomachache, said Sushil promptly, immediately. Within seconds, what he is saying that I am having terrible, awful, बहुत बुरी तरीके से I am having stomachache. Subal saw through the trick at once and said to himself, very well, I know how to teach you a lesson. So he saw through the trick, and then he was knowing, he was the father, right? So he was knowing that how he have to teach him the lesson. He turned to Sushil. A stomachache, huh? You would better stay in bed then. You are not to go anywhere. I had bought some lozings, that is a diamond shape, for you. But you would better not have them. Just lie down quietly while I go and prepare a brew for your stomach. So what he turned to Sushil, the father, and what he is saying that, so you are having the stomachache. So today you won't be going out anywhere. I had bought some diamond shapes for you, but I will not be giving it to you. Just lie down quietly and I will be going to the kitchen and prepare some brew, like that is the medicine for your stomachache. Subal locked his son in and went off to prepare a bowl of a really bitter brew. So what Subal, he just locked his son in the room, and what he did, he just went off and he started preparing the medicine for his stomach. Sushil was in quandary. He was in dilemma. He was confused. He loved lozings and loathed the brews his father made. So he used to like that diamond, and he used to dislike the brews his father made. The medicine his father used to make, he used to dislike that. And he was dying to go to the boss. And the father, what he suggested? That you have to stay at home. But now there seemed to be no chance. When Subal returned to the room with a big bowl of bitter brew, Sushil jumped out of the bed saying, I'm fine now. My stomach ache has gone. I'm going to school. So what? This was the trick of the father. What he came back, he returned with that medicine, that big bowl of bitter brew. And what Sushil, he jumped out of the bed, and what he is saying to his father, that father, I am fine now. My stomach ache has gone. Mera pet ka dard chala gaya hai. Now I am going to school. Now, what happens next? You are not going out anywhere today, said Subal. Drink this and lie here quietly for the rest of the day. So what Subal, he was knowing this thing, that why Sushil, he did not want to go to school. So what he said that, you are not going anywhere now. You just drink this and lie down, take some rest. He forced the brew down Sushil's reluctant throat, reluctant, not willing to. Usko nahi peena tha wo. Locked the door from outside and left. उसने उसको दवाई पिलाई जबरदस्ती और उसका डोर, जो रूम का डोर था वो बंद करा, and he went. Sushil burst into tears and wept buckets. Wept is crying the whole day long. So whole day long he was just crying and crying. He told himself, if only I could be as old as my father, I would be able to do whatever I wanted to. So what Sushil, he is just talking to himself, and what he is saying that काश मैं अपने father जैसा old होता तो मैं भी वो सब कर सकता जो मेरा मन करता. Subal sat outside and thought, my parents pampered me so much when I was young. Subal, the father, what he is sitting outside and he is thinking that my parents, they were pampering me, taking care of me and loving me, comforting me so much when I was so young. I could never study as much as I ought to have done. And I could never study जितना मुझको करना चाहिए. If only I could be young once again, I would spend all my time studying hard. So Subal, the father, what he is praying that he is wishing कि काश वो फिर से young हो जाए, and then he will be studying very hard. So both Sushil and Subal, they want that they should interchange their life. They are praying. Sushil, the son, he is praying कि काश मैं अपने father जितना old हो जाऊं तो मैं अपनी मर्जी का कुछ भी कर सकता हूँ. And Subal, what he is thinking, he is wishing कि काश मैं फिर से वापस पुराना बच्चा छोटा बन जाऊं कि मैं फिर से अच्छी तरीके से पढ़ सकूं. And it so happened that the goddess who grants wishes was passing by just then, and when they were just wishing for these things, what happened that the goddess, the who grants wishes, was passing from there. She heard both Subal and Sushil and decided to grant them both their wishes. So the goddess, जो भगवान थे, भगवान जी, उन्होंने सुबल और सुशील की दोनों की wishes सुनी, and then she granted their wishes. Appearing before Subal, she said, tomorrow morning you will be as young as your son. So appearing, she came before the Subal, the father, and what she said that tomorrow you will be as young as your son. And to Sushil, what she said, from tomorrow you are going to be as old as your father. Both father and son were delighted. They were very happy. They were very pleased. हमारी भगवान जी ने wish सुन ली. Usually old Subal could never get any sleep towards the early part of the night, because like we can see this thing with our grandparents, with our parents, that they are unable to sleep at night. जब हम लेटते हैं, सोने जाते हैं, then they are unable to sleep, right? So Subal was never get any sleep towards the early part of the night. But around dawn, he was fast asleep and slept late. Dawn is first light before sunrise, जब सुबह सुबह का time होता है. So about around dawn, he was fast asleep and slept late. बहुत देर तक सोते रहे. And when the sun rose the next morning, he almost jumped out of the bed and discovered that he had grown quite small. So next morning he jumped out of the bed, and what he discovered that he is quite small now. The teeth he had lost were all back. Because of old age, we lose our teeth, right? So Subal, when he was old, so he has lost all his teeth, and now he is young, so he is having all his teeth back. The clothes he had been wearing were too big for him now, and the clothes which he was wearing, they were very big because he has grown small. His shirt sleeves were longer than his arms and almost touched the floor. His dhoti swept the floor and he almost tumbled in. It tumbled, gir jaya. So what, the sleeves of his shirt were very long, and this they were touching the floor, and even the dhoti, it was just sweeping the floor, and he almost tumbled. उसमें गिर गया, वो उलझ गया. So this is Subal. The father, he has now turned small now. He is young now. On the other hand, Sushil, who woke up at the crack of dawn and ran out of the house, was hardly able to open his eyes. So he woke up and what he was unable to open his eyes. When he finally did succeed in shaking off his sleep, it was only because his father was making such a racket outside. Racket is making unpleasant loud noise. So when he woke up, when he listened that his father is just making loud noise. So she woke up to find that his clothes were very tight, because earlier he was a young boy, and now he has all grown up. So the clothes he was wearing are very tight to him. Nearly half his face was covered with salt and pepper beard and mustache. Salt and pepper is grey color, right? So he was having salt and pepper look. He was having grey beard and mustache. There was no trace of hair that had covered his head. So now he was bald. Bald is ganja. He was shocked to discover a gleaming bald pate in its place. Gleaming is very clean and polished. So he was bald now. What seemed even stranger was that he did not want to get out of the bed as he did on the other days. And now this was a strange thing, that just like the other days he used to come out of the bed, but today he was not willing to come out. He yawned, turned over on his side and decided to stay in bed because he is old now. So he yawned, and yawned is Ubasi Lena. And he turned over his side and he decided that I should stay in the bed only. Both father and son had got exactly what they had wished for. So both of them, they have the wish has been granted, and जो वो चाहते थे कि उनको achieve हो, they have achieved that. What they had not anticipated were the complications. So what they haven't thought that there will be many complications in that. In the past, Sushil had always thought that once he was old and independent, he would spend his entire time climbing trees, swimming in the pond, and roaming wild with his friends all day long. So what Sushil, what he has thought that once he will be old, he will be independent, and he would be spending the entire time climbing the trees, swimming in the pond, and roaming wild here and there with his friends. There would be no one to stop him from doing what he wanted. And as he is now grown up, so there will be no one who would be stopping him from doing all these things. When he woke up that morning, he felt no urge to climb trees. So now he has grown up now, but now he is not feeling like to climb the tree. He spread a mat on the veranda and sat there lost in thoughts. So what he did, instead of climbing the trees, he just spread the mat on the veranda, and he just sat there and he was just lost in his own thoughts. Finally, he decided that he should not give up the things he was fond of. And once he was lost in his thoughts, what he thought that I should not give up on the things which I wanted to do. He stood up and decided to try his usual antics. He went to nearby olive tree and made several attempts to climb it. So what? Subal, like now is Sushil. Sushil is Subal now, right? So antics is foolish behavior. So what he thought that he stood and decided that he should try to do the usual things which he used to do. So he went to the nearby olive tree and he made several attempts to climb it. He was astounded, he was shocked to find that climbing a tree was beyond him now. So what he find that, and he was shocked to see that now he was astounded to see that now he is unable to climb the tree. After several attempts, he hung onto one of the lower branches, which gave way under his weight and broke into two. Just like we can see in this image that Sushil, who is now Subal, he is just trying to climb the tree, and then one of the lower branches, it breaks into two because of his way. So he lay flat on the ground. Passers-by were amazed. So passers-by, they were just amazed to see that how an old man is climbing the tree and he is trying to do that. And when they saw him rolling on the ground, they burst out laughing. So why the passers-by, they burst out laughing? Because he was an old man, right? And you won't be like, you will be laughing at the old people who will be trying to climb the tree, because that doesn't suit their age. So similarly, the passers-by, they were laughing at him. So Sushil's friends who had played with him just the previous evening took one look at the grouchy old man. Grouchy is irritable old man, and ran for their lives. So Sushil, he even tried to go to his friends who were playing with him the previous evening, and the friends, they ran away after seeing the irritable man. So they had no idea that it was Sushil himself. Even the friends, they were not knowing what happened that night. So they were not having any idea that what has happened to Sushil. Sushil used to think that the moment he was old and independent, he would play with his friends all day long. And what he was wishing, that he thought that once he is older in age, then he will be all independent and he would be playing with his friend all day long. But now the very sight of Gopal, so these were his friends' name, Gopal, Akshay, then Harish and Nanda, put him in a bad mood. But now the sight of, so after seeing, sight is after seeing Gopal, Akshay, Harish and Nanda put him in a bad mood. He hated the thought of their noisy games and did not want them to disturb him. So he was now hating their noisy games which they together used to play, and he did not want them to disturb him. You would remember, of course, that once upon a time, Subal had told himself that if he ever got back his lost childhood, he would lock himself up in his study and pore over his books all day long. So when we came to know in the initial pages that Subal, who is the father of Sushil, so he is praying, and what he is saying that once he is back, he's all grown up, he will be all engrossed in the study, right? But now what happened? Now that he was young, and again he hated the very thought of studying. So now he was young again, and now he is hating the thought of study, just like you people hate. Yes, you are children and you hate कि नहीं हमको नहीं पढ़ना, हमको मस्ती करनी है. So similarly, Subal, who is the father of Sushil, he is younger now and he does not feel like studying. Sushil was very angry with him and said, "Father, aren't you?" So what Sushil was very angry now, and what he is saying to him, "Father, aren't you going to school today?" Subal looked down, scratched his head and said, "I can't. I have got a stomach ache." So now Subal, he is also doing the same thing with Sushil he was doing. And what he said that, "No, I don't feel like going because I am having a stomach ache." "Stomach ache?" said Sushil angrily. "Don't try your tricks on me. I used to get a similar stomach ache to avoid going to school. So don't act smart with me and don't play these tricks with me, because I was also doing the same thing to avoid going to school." Sushil had known so many different ways of playing truant, and the memory was still so fresh in his mind. So truant is one who just stays out of school, who doesn't want to go to school. So he was knowing the different taunts which he can play on his father, and then he can avoid going to school. And the memory was still so fresh in his mind that it was quite impossible for his poor father to fool him. So even Subal, who was the father, he was unable to fool his own son. Sushil forced his young father to go to school. So now Sushil, he is forcing his father to go to school. When Subal returned in the evening and longed to go out and play, it was time for old Sushil to wear his glasses and read Ramayana aloud to himself. So when Subal he returned in the evening after his school, now he is longing to go out and play. And now it was time for Sushil to wear his glasses, the eyeglasses, and to read Ramayana aloud to himself. Subal's noisy presence disturbed him, and Subal now he is a small child, right? Small boy. So now he is just disturbing his father. So he made Subal sit in front of him and do the sums. So what Sushil he did as a father, he made Subal sit in front of him and he asked him to do some sums. He selected such tough and complicated problems that it took his young father more than an hour to solve just one of them. So he has chosen such a complicated questions for his father that it has took him an hour to solve those sums. In the evening, Sushil played chess with the old men in the locality. And Sushil, now who is the father, and he was playing with the old men in locality, the chess. He was playing chess. Sushil was particularly careful about food. So now he is being careful, because in old age we be careful that what we should eat and what we should not eat, right? We can see our grandparents, our parents, they just try to avoid heavy diet in evening, in the dinner time. So when his father Subal was an old man, he had a lot of digestive problems, and even the elders, the oldest people, they're having the digestive problems. So they tend to take the light diet. The slightest overeating would bring in an attack of acidity. अगर आपने थोड़ा सा भी overeat कर लिया, so it will bring in attack of acidity, gas, acidic. So she remembered it very well and stopped his young father from eating his fill. So he stopped his father from eating overeating. He stopped him. Subal, on the contrary, was perpetually hungry these days and felt he would be able to digest even a piece of stone. So Subal, he was younger now, right? And what he was very perpetually always hungry these days. And he felt that even now, as he is small and he is younger, so he could even digest eating a stone. However, Sushil just would not allow him to eat normally, and Subal remained hungry, because Sushil, he was knowing that he is his father, right? So he would not allow him to eat. He started losing weight and grew thin. So father, he started losing weight. Old Sushil also had his own problems. And now Sushil, he is the older one now, and he is having his own problem. He soon realized that nothing of what used to be his second nature suited him any more. Second nature, like how he used to be at that time. The irregular hours gifted him a cold, cough, and severe body ache, and he had to remain in bed for 3 whole weeks. So irregular hours, जो आपका normal cycle होता है, अगर वो irregular हो जाता है, तो it used to give him cold and severe body ache, and he used to remain on bed for 3 whole weeks. Young Sushil had loved to take his daily dip in the pond. But the moment he tried it now, his rheumatism increased so alarmingly that he had to see a doctor for 6 months. So young Sushil, we know that when he was small, he was fond of taking bath and dip in the pond. So if he take the dip in now, like in old age, then what happened that rheumatism, that is the disease of muscle pains and joint pains, was increased. And he had to see doctor for 6 whole months. He now bathed at home in warm water, and that too on alternate days. So now as he is old now, so alternately, ek din chhod ke he used to take bath with warm water. And refused to let Subal bath in the pond as well. So now he is a father, he even stopped Subal taking bath in the pond. He would pick up the comb by mistake to comb his hair and end up scratching his bald pate. We can see in the image that he has picked up that comb, and what he is unable to do that because he is bald. Subal too forgot at times that he was no longer old. He would go and join a gathering of old people and comment on their discussion. And Subal now, sometimes he used to forget that he is not old now, he is young now, and what he used to do, he used to go and join the gathering of the old people, and then he used to comment on the discussions, just like sometimes we do that. Yes, being children, हमको बड़ों के बीच में बैठना बहुत अच्छा लगता है, and sometimes we comment, and what our parents say, go and play in your room. Needless to say, it would annoy them very much. Needless to say, the elder people sitting there in the gathering, they used to get annoyed with this. They boxed his ears, scolded him for being precocious, too clever. Precocious is being too clever of his age. And told him to go away, forgetting that he did not look old. He would ask what his tutor for a puff of tobacco. So what he is saying that the older people sitting in the gathering, they used to scold him and told him to go away. And they used to forget him about that he is of old, like he is Subal and he is old. What Subal he used to ask about the tobacco, and what the tutor he used to beat him. So the tutor canned him soundly and made him stand on one leg as a punishment for his imprudence. So what Subal he used to ask about the tobacco. So what the tutor there, he used to punish him and asked him to stand on his one leg. Sometimes Subal would go and smack Sushil as before. The elderly Sushil would flare up and say, is this kind of manners they are teaching you in school these days? How dare you? So what Subal, we are knowing that he was a father, right? But they got interchanged. So now what Subal, being a small boy, he used to go and hit back Sushil as like the old time's sake. And then what elderly Sushil, he used to say to his son, that is these kinds of manners the schools they are teaching you. How dare you to beat me? Enough was, after all, enough. Subal now prayed with all his heart that he might regain his lost age and independence, which he had been foolish enough to pass on to Sushil. So now what we can see that Subal, the father, he is praying to God that he want to regain his lost age and independence, which he has given to Sushil. He has been foolish and he has passed that to his own son. And even on the other hand, Sushil too prayed earnestly, seriously, he used to pray to God that he might become young once again and play around with his friends the way he used to. And even Sushil, he is praying to God that he wants to become young again and he wants to play with his friends. The goddess who grants wishes heard them both. Well, she said, appearing before them, are you satisfied? So goddess who has granted their wishes, she came there in front of them, and what she is asking them that, are you satisfied now? Yes, yes, indeed we are, cried both father and son, falling at her feet. That yes, we are satisfied now, and they started crying. Why they started crying? Because they wanted to go back and enjoy the life which they were enjoying before this change. Please change us back to what we used to be once again. So what they pleased to the goddess, that please change us back to what we used to be. Very well then, said the goddess. That's what will happen when you wake up tomorrow morning. So what goddess, she said that, very well then, if you are satisfied now, your wish will be granted. You will be back again tomorrow morning. Once you are up tomorrow, you will be back again. The next day, Subal woke up as an old man and Sushil found himself young once again. So next day, Subal, he woke up as an old man just like before he used to be, and Sushil, he was a young boy now. Each of them felt that he had just woken up from a bad dream. And both of them, what they thought, that was a nightmare, that was a bad dream, and now that bad dream is over. Subal raised his voice and asked, Sushil, why aren't you studying your grammar aloud? And now what? Subal, now he is father again, and he is asking his son, that Sushil, why aren't you studying your grammar now? Sushil scratched his head and replied, Father, I have lost my book. So what he said, that he just scratched his head and he replied that, Father, I have lost my book. How can I read grammar? So class, the chapter is over. I hope that it is clear to you. And once the chapter is over, now we can relate that we should not dream of becoming someone else. We should stay happy in whichever situation we are and how we are leading our life. Thank you, class.